I got the introduction about open source and Git and GitHub at that time. So I made my GitHub profile and I just started building random things. So I made a library called PHP Geocode. So this 21 end, I got approached by Insight Partners. Insight Partners is a quite big private equity firm in US. They have like $90 billion of assets. They reached out to me, say they were asking me like, what are your plans for roadmap? Because they saw that it had potential, it was getting a lot of traction and so on. And I was not focusing too much on this. They thought they could take it from me and then they just focused. Then I had discussions with them and I decided to go for multiple offers to acquire before. But I didn't go with them because most of these were course sellers. They were paying me good money. I could make good money from it because it was simple GitHub project and I was not doing anything. I could just, it was free money. It's completely different. Like we are at 1.25 million visitors per month, almost more than 1 million registered users, more than 10,000 registered. It's going to not come from the like private user. I mean, the users who are using the platform. It's going to be from the companies first. Like for example, the teams who are registered. So we introduced the team feature almost like 5-6 months ago. It is still in beta, so it is free of cost. So one is going to be this one. We are going to start making money from biggest mistake that I made was leaving it from 2018 till 2020, almost for 2-3 years. I just left it. It was there on my GitHub. I was not doing anything. It would have been a different story if I was working on something. I posted one message on screenshot of a message on my Twitter. Like there was a guy who said that Roadmap was the only resource that I used to learn, and it completely changed my career trajectory and the financial situation. It is about you. So for example, I started my YouTube, right? In the beginning of my days, like there were comments on the channel that you are like looks like you're reading from a script. Looks like there's a robot making this video and so on. And there were all these negative comments. They didn't stop me. I was like set to make one video every week and I was doing it. And it grew like within 1 year, we were sitting at almost 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube. If I would have stopped from these comments that I was getting, I would have never taken it.
Hi guys, welcome to Yellow Let's Code podcast, a podcast we interview software engineer to share their entrepreneurial story. And here we are on the episode number 16, and we have Kamran from Roadmap.sh. He's a project that he's one of the most ranked projects in GitHub, and he will be sharing more about his story and this project specifically. So let's see you after this intro.
I'm Kamran. I'm the founder of Roadmap.sh. I have been in the industry for the past 10 years. Most of my experience has been with startups and scale ups. And I went full time on Roadmap, and since 22, I've been working on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. So, for the people that would like to know more about the backstory of your journey, can you give us more insight about how did you get started in web development?
So web development, I started around 2010. So when I got admission in software engineering in the university. Before that, I was doing some development, but this was mostly for fun, like simple like websites and stuff. But this was just like without thinking of it as a career or anything. So around 2016, so when 2013, when I got into the university, I was doing a lot of development on the side. I did C#, I did ASP.NET, I did game development, web designing, graphics designing, and everything. So I did a lot of different things, but then I got the job, and the job was for the web development. So this company was a small service-based company. So they had their own product called Digital Manager. So this was a business management application that was used by local companies for business management, inventory management, payroll, and this kind of stuff. So it was a smaller kind of ERP application. So I joined them. They had the desktop application, and then I got to work on the web version of this application because at that time they were planning to move away from the desktop because desktop had its challenges. So they had to send the guy to set up the local software on the machines at this local company that they were selling it to, and then there was maintenance, and then if there was some issue, they were not able to figure it out remotely. So web was just like online, and they did not have to send someone to look at their software, and it could be all done online on call and everything. So I started working on the web version of this desktop application, the business management application, and this was my start around 2013. I started doing web development afterwards. So before that, a lot of different things, 2013, and I just focus on the web development afterwards.
Awesome. And what was your academic background back then?
Software engineering, I was doing Bachelor of Science in Software Engineering.
Awesome. Awesome. So you got a degree and start your first job as a software engineer, starting in the startup that you have been doing like a desktop application, and you focus on the web version, and after that you start diving into web development stuff. Awesome.
But I still consider myself to be self-taught because I graduated from a small university. So where they teach you all the theoretical stuff, and even the syllabus that they were teaching us, it was quite old. So everything that you do in the market, it was you have to learn it yourself. So I still think of myself as a self-taught developer, even though I have the proper degree in software engineering and everything.
Yeah, makes sense. Got your point. And what was the tech stack that you have been using back then?
2010, I think it was still starting. The web development was new, was quite new at that time. I mean, still there were people making desktop applications and stuff. The tech stack was PHP in the backend. There was a Code Igniter framework. It was quite famous at that time. So Code Igniter, PHP, jQuery in the front end. There was Twitter Bootstrap for styling, and there was SVN at that time. It was quite famous. The Git was not as famous at that time. Git and GitHub was still new at that time, but people were not using it as much. So SVN and database was
Awesome.
MySQL, and it was just deployed on simple, Apache server and everything.
Awesome. And what was the next job that you have after this first job that you had in this?
So I stayed at this company for almost a year and a half. So when I was still in the university from 2013 to 14, so I graduated in 2014. Till 2014, I stayed with this company. After that, I moved to a different software company. So this was called Strategic Systems International. So this was also another service-based company. So they had offices in US, Germany, and Pakistan. So I'm basically from Pakistan. And then they had this healthcare application. So I joined this company. They had a lot of different projects. So I worked on a healthcare application called Healthcare Business Insights. They had a rename, I think, but it was quite big application that they were refactoring. I joined this project. Then there was another project called Academic Approach. So this was the EdTech platform. And then there were several small applications also, like mobile application, ASP.NET application. Then so there was no, because it was service-based company, that there were a variety of projects. So I was just jumping from here and there. Like I was just doing different things there.
Awesome. And what was the next step after this one before diving into the roadmap product?
Yeah, so this was my second company. I think till this point, I did not learn much. I mean, I was doing things, and the
Okay.
focus was on just getting things done because it was mostly small companies. And in these small companies, you don't get to experience everything, like to do things in the modern way, because they were not startups. These was just small service-based companies. And service-based companies, they just focus on getting things done without focusing too much on the quality or doing things properly, because the client is expecting them to finish this in a deadline. So they have to finish this in the deadline. So I did not learn much. I mean, I was learning, but the focus was learning to get things done, not doing things properly. At that time, I also started doing like open source stuff on the side. I was contributing to GitHub projects. I came across GitHub, so I set up my GitHub profile and I was just posting things on GitHub. This was my introduction to open source. We'll talk more about like how I started doing more open source stuff later on. But at that time, I found a job in Dubai, so I moved to Dubai. So Dubai, there was a small startup called Tajawal. So now it's called Sira Group. So there was a large group called Al Tayyar at that time, Saudi group, and they were trying to build their online platform for flights and hotel booking and stuff. And this was like a child company of Al Tayyar Group. So I got a job there. So it was a small team. There were like 20 people at that time in this company. I got this job here. My CTO at that time, Mohammed Mabel, so he was quite experienced. So he worked in Germany for some time. So he had good experience with the technical side. So I joined this company and I just shooted from there. Like I learned a lot from there, like all the modern way of doing things. I mean, it was startup. There were tight deadlines, so we had to deliver. There were late night sittings and stuff. So I learned a lot at this company of modern way of doing things and so on. And then, yeah, I mean, still, like I stayed at this company for 3 years. Then I joined another company for year 8 months. Also, it was called Tire Group in Dubai. They are quite big. Also, they have like 10,000 employees. I worked with them for 8 months. Then I moved to another e-commerce platform called Trading.com, and I stayed with them for almost 2.5 years. It was a small company that grew from, like, I joined them and there were 3 employees at this company, and I saw it grow from 3 people to almost 250 people, and there were like 50 people in the tech team. When I joined, there were 3 people only. So this was mostly my career, like small, like startups. And then around 2022, I started working on full time on Roadmap.
Awesome. So it's been a lot of step before you jump in to the roadmap project. Can we talk about how was your experience? Because you mentioned you move up from Pakistan to Dubai. How was the
Yeah.
experience moving from another country to another one? for like a this opportunity to join this company and work as a software engineer. How was the experience? What do you think you benefit from that switch or from that migrations?
It was scary at first. I mean, when I decided to move out of Pakistan to Dubai, to Dubai, I never had even lived in a hospital before. I was living in a hostel before. I was living in it with my parents at house. I was still young. We're talking about like 1920 at that time, 2021 at that time. So but from professional side, I learned a lot. Like it was the best decision I think that I made because there were different cultures there. I got to experience these different cultures, different way of doing things. Also, like with the startups, before it was not startups, it was mostly service-based company. This was a product-based company. So there was a completely different way of doing things. There were like tight deadlines. We have to make sure that the quality is good. Also, there were scaling issues and so on. So I learned a lot in this company. So I would say like a massive shift. Like first was like moving out of the country, working in this multicultural company. The second was the proper way of doing things because we launched. We started scaling very fast. So we grew from like almost zero bookings per day to 40,000 bookings per day. So per month. So this was quite also big. Like we had a lot of requests, a lot of scaling issues, and so on. So it was quite massive, I think. From learning side, especially, like it was quite massive. There was microservices, no, not microservices, service-oriented architecture. I was doing full stack development, and I was doing everything because it was a small company. And everyone was doing everything, like front and back end and DevOps and everything. So yeah, I think it was really positive experience.
Awesome. That's true. That's good to hear. That was a positive experience for you. And you work on different type of company in Dubai. You mentioned like a big group and like a small startup, I would say. And after that, you start diving into Roadmap and starting this project. Can you give us more about what was your first open source contribution before
Yeah.
introducing the product?
So first open source contribution was when I was still in Pakistan in this SSI, the service based company. So at that time, I felt like I was not learning much. I was just delivering things, and I was not doing much. So I started learning online, searching online, like how should I? I got the introduction about open source and Git and GitHub at that time. So I made my GitHub profile and I just started building random things. So I made a library called PHP Geocode. So this was my first open source project. So it was a geocoding library where you give it the address, it will connect to the Google's geocoding API and give you back the details for this address. So for example, if I give it a random address and in the natural format, it would give me like what is the city, what is the country, what is the continent, what is the time zone here, the latitude, longitude, and everything. So this was my first library. But it was done in a very weird manner. Uh, by weird, I mean that it was a single PHP file, a single class, with simple README, and that's it. I did not know about testing. I did not know about proper object-oriented programming, linting, sniffing, CI/CD, or publishing packages, and so on. So I made this. I put it on Reddit, and I got a lot of negative comments on Reddit because people were saying like this is horrible. Why would anyone use this? There is this mature project. You should use this, and so on. But some guy, he decided to open a pull request. So he forked the repository. He submitted a pull request. I still have the pull request somewhere in my GitHub history. So this guy opened a pull request. He modified the README fully. He added the proper introduction. He added the badges in there with CI. He added the test for this the code base. He refactored the class properly. He helped me publish it to packages and so on. So with all these changes, like with this single pull request that he opened, I got introduced to a lot of different things that I didn't know about. So this was my introduction to open source. Like I found out that I could use open source to learn a lot and grow out of the service-based company as well. So that's when I started doing more of the open source projects. The next one was jQuery Toast plugin. So this is quite famous also, I would say, right now on my GitHub. So it has like more than 1,000 stars. And I made like more small open source project also. I kept on doing it like on the side, like just whenever I get time, I would just put them on the GitHub. I would search for open source project ideas and I would just build them. The way I would come across ideas was I would just look at, for example, Python and say, what is the famous library in Python? I would build it in PHP because I knew about PHP. What is the famous library in Ruby that is not there in PHP? I would build this in PHP. That's how I was coming across the ideas, coming up with the ideas, and then I was just putting them on my GitHub. Then when I was in Dubai, like I was doing these small projects, then I had the idea of developing Roadmap. How the idea for Roadmap came because I was doing a lot of community stuff when I was in Pakistan, but when I was in my university. So I was IEEE ambassador. I was also a Microsoft student partner. So we were doing a lot of events there, doing mentoring sessions, inviting people to come and have sessions in the university and so on. So a lot of students were still reaching out to me after the university to guide them. So if I finish my university, what should I do? So I was telling them. So I found myself repeating the same answer again and again. So these are the different roles. If you want to get into this role, you should learn about this, this, this. If you want to get into this role, these are the things you should learn and so on. So I thought, why don't I just put this in the visual format and put it on my GitHub, and I could just share this project with them the next time they reach out to me. So I made the images for front end and back end roadmaps. So these roadmaps, and then I put them on GitHub. Before that, there was no notion of roadmaps. I mean, people were making, but roadmap was used to be product roadmaps. People were not associating roadmaps with the learning paths and this kind of stuff. So if you search for roadmap at that time, it was just like random roadmap, product roadmaps, and so on. So that's how I came up with the name, that roadmap is kind of a career roadmap for per student or something. So I gave it the name developer roadmap, like roadmap for developers, and I put them on GitHub, and then I just shared it with everyone. So I posted on Reddit, on Hacker News, and then within a week or so, I got to almost like 10,000 stars on GitHub. And then I just started working on that. I mean, this was side project from 2017 till 22. At that time, I mean, in the beginning, I kept on doing it on the side whenever I would get time, but then I lost focus, I lost interest, and I just left it for there for some time. From 2018 till 2020, it was not touched at all. It was just there on my GitHub and organically growing, and there were three roadmaps: front end, back end, and DevOps. And then, like, there were things that happened that made me focus more on roadmap. And one of those things were like there were people reaching out to me. I mean, students reaching out to me asking me to add more roadmaps. There were people who would reach out to me, say like, I'm an expert in. So the first roadmap that I got was Postgre, that someone contributed. It's still there on the website. So people were submitting pull requests and saying that I would help you make a roadmap, put this on the website. So there's people helping me, asking me for more roadmaps, and then people like stepping up to help me make more roadmaps. This was another thing. So that's why, I mean, I it was getting more and more stars, so I decided to make it into a website and add more roadmaps, and then I just kept on working on the side.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Because I remember the roadmap, it's blow up when during the COVID stuff. Because I remember saw it on Twitter back then in during the pandemic situation. It was really famous back then, and it's I think I'm not sure if this is exactly this is the time that the roadmap project got viral, but I could remember exactly that during this time, a lot of people has been tweeting about this project, and a lot of this roadmap images has been shared across different social media channel like Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like this. And yeah, it's really amazing to hear the backstory of the roadmap project. And talking about the roadmap project, when this is the time that roadmap went viral, and also when it's the right time that you think I should be focusing more on this project full time, if it's like a still full time project for you.
Yeah, so it is still full time. So I'll tell you. So it went viral. Yeah. So the first like 10,000 to 50,000 stars. So I got this almost an year and a half. So people were still sharing it. My GitHub notifications were messed up. Like it was all the time on the timeline was just this guy start your repository, this guy start your repository. It was all like start, start, start. So I stopped looking at my GitHub timeline or the GitHub issues, because there was always like there were like almost 1,000 issues at the time on GitHub repository. There were people asking for more roadmap, people asking for content, and so on. So I just left it there. I was not focusing on it. I was not thinking of going full time. But then around the COVID time, so I decided to make a website out of this. So I thought that why don't I, instead of putting keeping the images on there, because a lot of people are asking me to add more roadmaps, why don't I put this on the website? So I bought this domain called Roadmap.sh, and I decided to put all these three images onto the website, and I put the button contribute a roadmap. And then I asked people to help me add more roadmaps. That's when the website started going viral. People were sharing the website link, and then because it was now shown, it was not presented as a website with a collection of roadmaps rather than just three roadmaps: the front end, back end, and DevOps. Also, it was quite easier to, like, interface was much better than the GitHub, like long readme on the GitHub. So I mean, people just kept on sharing it, but still, I could not do much with it because the way the roadmaps are made, were made at that time was I was using Balsamic. So Balsamic is a wireframing tool. So it's a tool that is used for making the mockups for websites and stuff. So they have input box, or they have arrows, and they have labels and so on. So all these components that you could use for making a website mockup, these are all the components that they have. So it is not meant to be used for making roadmaps. So these roadmaps, like making one roadmap, was a quite hectic process in the Balsamic. I have to spend 5-6 hours in making one roadmap. So that's why also I was a bit slow in making more roadmaps. So the issue was, like, people were asking me to add resources to the roadmaps. A lot of people were ripping the roadmap and putting them on their website, and just recommend paid Udemy courses with the affiliate links, and then they were making money. So I thought that, why don't I start doing, like, improving the website and then put the resources, the free resources, onto the website, because the internet is filled with resources. I could easily put like all the free resources to learn about front end or back end and so on. But the issue was, like, how do I make this responsive? So I went through several iterations. One of the biggest challenges was this responsive in the responsiveness was, Balsamic did not have any way to export the SVG. The first thought that I had was, why don't I export it as an SVG and then make it interactive with JavaScript? I could not do it because it only allowed the export of PNG, no SVG. So I thought about, why don't I do the image maps? With HTML, you can create the image maps on different boxes. But the issue with this was, I spent some time, I made this, but the desktop was fine. But on mobile, on small devices, the image map was getting messed up, and also I was not able to have different states. So, for example, on hover, show a different background and so on. So I could not do it. So all these issues. So then I kept looking. I kept thinking, how should I do it? And I started working on the mind map project. So I thought that maybe I convert the roadmaps into a mind map format diagram instead of this vertical roadmap, and then I do it this way. So I started working on this library. It's still there in my tweets. I did not finish it because the issue was, like, people recognize roadmap with these, like, yellow colors and these arrows and curves and everything. So people remembered roadmap because of this. And I thought it would be like, doing this would be a biggest mistake, because people would just think that roadmap is something else and these mind maps are something else. And also, like, mind maps were these, like, horizontal format. They did not have this vertical proper format. That would have been super difficult as well, to lay out the information in a proper manner. So what I did was, like, I looked at Balsamic. I kept thinking about Balsamic. I talked to the CEO of Balsamic also. I talked to them and I said that, could you add the support for exporting SVG? I'm getting this much traffic and I'm sending you this many people. If you could add the SVG export, it would make my life more easier, and it also would make me send more people to you, because I'm using your platform for building the roadmaps. So he agreed to add the SVG support. I didn't follow up with them again. They just went silent on me. Then I was just sitting one day and I was looking at the Balsamic export, the BMPR file that it exports. And also it has the support for JSON. So it is basically a JSON file with all the proper attributes. So it says, like, this is a rectangle, position is this many pixels on the top, on the left, x5 pixel, and so on. So it gives you all the proper pixels. It's just a JSON file. So I decided that maybe I should run an experiment, and I tried to render this JSON into an SVG. So I started working on this project, and then I made this Balsamic renderer with the limited kind of blending features. So I was only rendering the labels, the rectangles, and the arrows, and the curves, and so on. So I made this library. I would pass it the Balsamic JSON, and it would just convert the SVG. So this was the tipping point. So this is where I had the wow that I can easily make it into this visual diagram. So around 2021, I made it into this intact SVG onto the website on Roadmap.sh, and then I started adding resources. Now the next challenge was, how do I add the resources? Should I link with the database? I can't afford to spend, because the traffic was so high at that time. I mean, we are getting around 1 million page views, not 1 million, I think almost similar number. At that time, so I could not afford to put it on the database and have proper, like, content management and everything. So I was thinking about, how should I do it. So I started migrating it to Jekyll. So Jekyll is a content, like a static website builder. I wrote the markdown files in there, and I put it all on the GitHub. So what GitHub action was doing was, it was converting the Jekyll from markdown to HTML files, and then HTML files were rendered. So whenever you click, I was just calling the slash frontend slash internet.html page, and I would just get the partial out of that HTML, and I would embed it into the page. So that's how the interactivity was made into the roadmap website.
Hmm.
Now the roadmaps were interactive. Then there were more challenges. I mean, the second challenge was, like, people were asking for not a challenge, but the next feature was the tracking progress. So I started working on tracking progress, and then now people could click the roadmap and say roadmap topic and say I'm learning or I'm done or I'm in progress or whatever. So you could just update your progress from there. It was showing progress. It was all on GitHub. I was not spending a single penny. It was all running from the GitHub pages as a static website.
It's still currently the same structure for the website, like just using GitHub pages
No. So it stayed there almost in 2022, 2023 almost. So around 23, when we added the login registration and everything, so we decided to move away from there because now we have dynamic pages in there, so we can't do it there. There were several rewrites during the process. So first was this Jekyll. After that, I migrated to Elementy because I was adding all these features. Jekyll was written in Ruby. I didn't know Ruby. And Jekyll, I mean JavaScript, I thought that if I converted to Elementy, I could like use the same framework for the front end and the back end. So I decided to look into that. Elementy had some more issues because there were a lot of roadmaps, a lot of topic files. There were like 2,000 or 3,000 topic files, like all these HTML pages that I'm telling you about. So the build was very slow, like 4 to 5 minutes to build the whole project. Then at that time, Astro was in beta. Astro is the framework that I'm using right now. It's a meta framework. You could use React with it. You could use like simple Angular, Vue, or whatever framework you could use. You would want to use it. You can use it with Astro. So I started migrating it to Astro, but it was still the SSG, a static site that was exported on the GitHub action and then deployed onto the GitHub pages. It stayed there till 2021, 22. And then around 2021 end, I got approached by Insight Partners. Insight Partners is a quite big private equity firm in US. They have like $90 billion of assets. They reached out to me, they were asking me like, what are your plans for roadmap? Because they saw that it had potential, it was getting a lot of traction and so on. And I was not focusing too much on this. They thought they could take it from me and then they just focused. Then I had discussions with them and I decided to go full time with them. And then from 2022 till now, I'm working full time. We had a lot of iterations. We migrated. We had several rewrites for the front end. Now it's an SSR-based application that is deployed partially on, not partially, like fully on the AWS with CloudFront, with simple EC2 servers, MongoDB as a backend database, and a lot of moving pieces that we have in there.
Oh, awesome. So Roadmap has been acquired by a US private equity, and you are currently working on the Roadmap part full time.
Yes. So the acquisition, I mean, it was an acquisition, but so I had multiple offers before this, multiple offers to acquire before, but I didn't go with them because most of these were core sellers. They were paying me good money. I could make good money from it because it was simple GitHub project and I was not doing anything. It was free money for me basically. But I didn't want to do it because they were trying to sell courses and most of the audience was beginners. And I thought that if I sell it to these guys, they'll probably put paid courses and then it would not be helpful for most of the free people and they would just try to make money from it. And I didn't decide to sell them. Insight Partners was a bit different. So we had long discussions for almost 6 to 7 months. So we discussed, I asked them like, what are their plans for it? How would it work? Like after the acquisition and so on. And I mean, I liked the idea. It was still going to be me running it. It was still autonomous. They were not, I mean, it's been 2.5 years that I've been working with them. They don't bother me at all. They just ask me like, what are you working on? I tell them that this is my plan for the next 6 months. I'll be working on this, and that they're fine with it. I never had any issues with them, and I have this vision of building this in Google of the learning space. So just like Google, when you think of searching something, Google comes to your mind. I want to be the same in the learning space. When you think of learning something, you go to Roadmap.sh. So I had this vision, and I've been working towards that vision. And they're fine people. They never had any. I mean, I never had any issues with them.
Oh, awesome. So
And
the
also,
vision. Sorry.
yeah, all the numbers, I mean, we can talk about the numbers in the later, but uh, at the time of acquisition, the number were not so high. They were like 200,000 visitors per month, almost like 80 to 90,000, no, 800,000 to 700,000 page views per month. So right now it's completely different. Like we are at 1.25 million visitors per month, almost more than 1 million registered users, more than 10,000 registered teams. And so I was able to, because I had money from them now, I could grow it massively and I was able to do it with the help of them. And I don't think I would have been able to help this many people that Roadmap is helping right now if I was doing it on the side.
That's really good. Yeah. Talking about the numbers, so the number currently we have 289,000 GitHub start plus 1 million registered user, 25K Discord member, and you mentioned like a 1.5 million page views, page
So
visitor,
1.5 million
uh,
visitors and
visitor, yeah,
almost
visitor.
5 million page views per month.
Yeah, almost 5 million. It's like a quite a number. It's like a massive number for a project like this. And you mentioned in the vision that you would like to extend the roadmap to be friends for learning. You would like to extend it more into different fields, more than just like a software engineer, or you are talking about software engineering, but not like a other field, like let's say medical and stuff like.
So when it started, it was only the development. So it was just the front end, back end, DevOps, and mostly the hardcore development. But we started slowly adding more stuff. So we added the UX design, cybersecurity, product management, DevRel. So we're adding more fields as well. But we're still going to be within the technical landscape. We have some plans, but it's going to be in the future, not now at the moment. At the moment, we're going to stick with just the technical landscape.
Currently, I would like to know more about how currently the roadmap has been monetized. So currently you got acquired, but how roadmap is making money right now because you already have like a teams. Because I think teams, it's a paid plan if you would like to create a team. So you can use the platform for free right now. But if you would like to create a team and like I have select some roadmap or create a roadmap for your team, you should pay for it. That correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, we're slowly starting to think about the monetization part. I mean, for now, monetization has not been an issue. The focus was just on growing the product because it is like we're not spending a lot of money on the platform. I mean, it might look like it's super big and it's costing us a lot, but it's not. I mean, the running cost is quite. I mean, it's not that high as well. That would make us worry too much. But we are starting. So our focus was mainly on growing the product and slowly think about the monetization later on. Monetization is going to not come from the like private user. I mean, the users who are using the platform. It's going to be from the companies first. Like for example, the teams who are registered. So we introduced the team feature almost like 5-6 months ago. It is still in beta, so it is free of cost. So one is going to be this one. We are going to start making money from these teams. The second one is the like we have paid sponsors on the platform. If you go to backend roadmap or any roadmap, so we have sometimes sponsors, so they pay us also. And then we're also thinking about like, for example, uh, now that we are listing right now only the free resources, but a lot of people are requesting us to add paid resources as well. We're not going to make paid courses ourselves, but we might have some partnership with different companies, and I would see like if they have good resources, we would see like we could put them on the website or not, and then get some chunk out of that from out of that payment, the sale that they would make. So there's also going to be another aspect of making money from it. So again, like there are different ways. I mean, there's a lot of ways that we can make money from. It's not going to be unethical ways from the like paywalling the product or anything. It's helping a lot of people. It's going to stay that way. We're going to make money from again teams, these affiliate or partnerships that we'll have, and then these ads that we might run on different sections on the website.
Awesome. Also, I saw that you have currently guide and different type of content, written and video content. Is all of this has been produced by you, or you have like a team that help you with creating this type of content?
So I mean, I can't do it all by myself. I'm a full stack developer. I know front end, back end, DevOps. I'm a full stack. I mean, front end, back end, I'm fine with it. DevOps, I'm not so expert, but I can do it. So I'm a full stack developer, but we have like almost 55 roadmaps. No, I'm not an expert in all of them. The way we work is we reach out to subject matter experts and we get their help in making the roadmap. For example, we recently launched like 2 weeks ago the Git and GitHub roadmap. So this was made in collaboration with the education team at GitHub. So in
Wow.
the similar manner, whenever we make some roadmap, we would just come up with textual format and like bullet list based on our own research. And then we would reach out to like 20 different subject matter experts for this topic and get their feedback. How could we improve it? What would you add? What would you remove? What would be the learning order and so on? And it goes through several iterations. Then we put it on the on the website. The team is quite small, so we are 2 people full time, me and developer advocate that I hired almost like 3 months ago in March, 3-4 months ago, and I have a student who's working part time with us also from Bangladesh. So this is how the team looks like. Me and Eric, we mostly do the development and the product and all the design and all that kind of features and stuff. Developer advocate that we have, Dan, he's responsible for getting us to help in making the roadmaps. So he would build connections with different people and get their help in making making the roadmaps and like marketing stuff. For example, we would build partnership with different companies. For example, we recently had partnership with Daily.dev. So similar kind of partnerships. This is also his responsibility, adding content to the different roadmaps. So he would reach out and get contributors to get involved. So people submit pull requests in adding content to the roadmaps that we launch. So this is also community and him. Our Discord community is quite active. So people like we have sessions there, live sessions there from time to time. People help us like add content from there as well. So it's a mix, like community. Like we have a large community. Our newsletter is almost 1 million, 1.5 million almost. So community does help with all that stuff that you see on the website as well.
Awesome. So talking about the website, also you have a YouTube channel with the over like a 50 video that you currently have and over 214K subscriber with different topic that will I think will uh, will be an alternative way for written content that you have on the website. So for people that would like to see the video format, they can also check out the YouTube channel for that. So can we give more insight about the YouTube channel and why you decide to start also investing in the video content stuff for this type of content for software engineer?
So yeah, so roadmap, the YouTube channel was also built around I think 2019, 20 at that time, 2019, 20, almost like four years ago, 2020 I think. So I built the roadmap channel because the website itself it only had the subscription button in there, but I was not sending out the newsletter because newsletter also costed money. And again, like it was a side project, I was not spending a penny on this. It was all on GitHub pages, all running free of cost with that my traffic and so on. So the reason why I started YouTube channel was I wanted to convert it somewhere. I was thinking of experimenting with like learning about the video making and stuff. I did not have. If you look at my older videos, like the initial videos, like I feel like I'm reading from a script. So the older videos were not so good. So I wanted to learn about the video making and the animation and motion graphics and so on. So that was the idea. I thought that I'll put the banner on the website. I would say I am going to make YouTube videos, like cover the video content from the roadmap on the channel. Go and subscribe. So that's how I started the YouTube channel, and then the way I was coming up with the ideas for making videos was just randomly. Like I was just randomly making videos about whatever I was interested in. For example, sometimes you would say I was making videos in JavaScript, then I would make videos on the networking, OSI model, UTCP versus UDP, and so on. The topics were quite different, all because there was no structure. I was just doing it to see like how to make videos, how to learn about the motion, like how to do the motion graphics and so on. So this was the idea behind starting the YouTube channel. I haven't made any videos for the past almost 1 year because the website has been the focus now. Because I mean, now we need to grow it. There's a lot of people visiting the website, so we need to make sure that we give the proper value content. And we saw that the YouTube is not as valuable for people as much as we have the website. And if one making one video uses one week of my time, in this 1 week I could do a lot of features and the roadmaps and a lot of content on the website. So looking at that, I just decided to focus more on the website, and then YouTube has been only for occasional announcements for now. And then, for example, we have a new series called My Roadmap, where we invite people and then get them to share their story, just like I'm sharing my story now. So this kind of events on the YouTube. But eventually, like sooner or later, we'll start making videos again.
Awesome, yeah, makes sense. Got your point. And talking about all of the stuff that we mentioned about the roadmap project and covering, I think, the full story of the roadmap and all different parts of this product from monetization, like a different type of content, the YouTube channel, and stuff about the product. What do you think is the most challenging part about this product specifically? Because it's community focused product. What do you think will be the challenge that you face while building this product? And what do you think mistake that you made while building such product that you think people should avoid when building a community product for development?
Okay, there were many challenges. I mean, since the beginning, the first biggest mistake that I made was leaving it from 2018 till 2020, almost for 2, 3 years. I just left it. It was there on my GitHub. I was not doing anything. It would have been a different story if I was working on this still. So this was one. The second thing was like not making them this interactivity, adding this interactivity just because it felt boring and it was challenging. So I just didn't do it. I should have done it earlier. So this was a second mistake that I did. If you talk about the challenges, I mean, community management has been one of the biggest challenges as well. So we have like almost 1,000 contributors at the moment on GitHub. We recently closed all the issues when almost like 1 or 2 months ago. So we reached almost like 2,000 issues at that time on the GitHub, and pull requests was similar, like 5 to 600 open pull requests. We were not doing much. I think I should have tackled them easier, so earlier. So whenever there were people coming in with the issues and pull requests, I should have looked at them. Like I should have set aside some time on daily basis to look at them and close them, so that they would have not piled up, because a lot of people were visiting the website and they were thinking that the website is not maintained, the content is outdated, and so on, because it was, I mean, there were so many issues open and so many pull requests open and so on, but which caused a lot of people to not contribute or submit content and so on because of this. So I should have focused on that also. And other than that, I don't think there were many mistakes. I think I was lucky to be able to, I mean, take it to where we are today on the side. And then right now, I mean, now that I'm working full time, I don't think I would do anything differently. I mean, no mistakes were made after 22 at least. I mean, I learned a lot in the past, like before the acquisition. All these mistakes, I'm trying not to do them again.
Yeah, got your point. Makes sense. For this project specifically, what do you think this achievement that you did for this project and the opportunity that this project made you directly, like in terms of, let's say, sponsorship, let's say, I think also you for your personal brand, stuff like this. What do you think these projects bring to the table for Kamran?
Okay, so for me, like first of all, it has been really helpful for, I mean, it has been quite rewarding for me in a sense that I get tons of messages on daily basis from people who have like who this project has helped. Talking about, like, if we stay on the topic of helping people with the roadmap, the first hire that I had, the student that I'm working with, he reached out to me on Twitter. He reached out to me on 2018 or 19. He sent me his first message asking me about the roadmap and so on. So I replied to him, and then he reached out to me again around 2020. At that time, he was learning with the help of Roadmap. Before that, he did not have any idea about development or anything. So he was learning from Roadmap. Right now, he's working full time with me. So looking at this kind of stories where people did not know about anything and then they just learned with the help of roadmaps, and then they're earning good money from it and helping their families and so on. So this has been quite rewarding. So like a week ago or something, I posted one message on screenshot of a message on my Twitter. Like there was a guy who said that roadmap was the only resource that I used to learn, and it completely changed my career trajectory and the financial situation of my family. So the messages like this, I mean, they have always been like, I mean, I feel super happy when I see these messages. So this is the first thing, like all this like happiness that I get from all this helping people and so on. The second, it changed, I mean, a lot for my personal brand as well. 2017, nobody knew about me. I had some projects on GitHub. They were like famous. They were like 400, 500 stars on some of the projects, but they were, I mean, they were just like one-time stars for them. There was a guide, and there was like small libraries that got some traction and so on. But there was nothing much to help the community in a proper manner. After Roadmap, I mean, I became Google Developer Expert. I became a GitHub star because of all these issues, because of the community work and so on. And apart from this, I mean, interviews became super easy. Uh, like jobs, whenever I was applying for a job or anything, people would already know about the roadmap. And when I would tell them about the roadmap, the interview would go a bit like completely differently. It
Yeah.
would change from like this Q&A to a proper, like just a discussion about roadmap and so on. The interviews were completely different because people knew about me from the roadmap and so on. So this was another benefit. And then I'm sitting in the UK at the moment. I mean, I moved here on the global talent visa. Getting this visa also was because of roadmap. I showed them like I'm helping the community with this project and so on. So this is the impact that I had in terms of traffic, in terms of helping people and so on. So this was another thing. So there were many, I mean, many benefits that I got in terms of personal branding, sponsorships. Also, I was making a lot of money, not a lot of money, but I was making almost like $2,000 $2,500 per month from sponsorship on GitHub from the roadmap as well. I made a lot of connections as well. I met a lot of people. I met a lot of friends from with the help of roadmap.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think it's really like one of the things about this community stuff. It's the message that you get from the student and from people that got impacted by the content that you wrote and the stuff that you made online for free. It does really make a good impact. Does made the author of the content happier than the one consuming the content.
Yeah.
It's the other way. It's like when you see something that is impactful to the other person's story, it does really mean a lot to you because you are part of someone else's story, which is really good in in a good way. which is really admiring and really good to mention.
Yeah, if you look at Reddit, for example, or go to Twitter every day. So I do this almost daily basis. Like I go and search for roadmap.sh on Twitter. You'll find like 10 to 20 tweets on Twitter on daily basis for roadmap people sharing it, thanking like how helpful it has been for people and so on. Same on the Reddit, people recommending to other people and so on. And like seeing these messages, like there's a different feeling. And I'm lucky to be able to work full time on this. I mean, there are a lot of technical challenges that we're solving. There's a lot of content challenges that I'm solving. There's a lot of things that I'm learning while I'm doing it. Being able to work on something that is so rewarding from this angle, and also I enjoy working on this. I mean, that has been the best thing that happened to me with the help of Roadmap.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Can we talk about the lesson that you learned from this experience building this project and having all of this amazing impact with the product that you have? So, what are the lessons that you learned while building Roadmap?
When I was almost 22, 23, so I've always wanted to build something on my own, some kind of startup or anything. And I would think about different kind of monetize more like product ideas. For example, I would put the paid membership into this. It would cost $5 per month. If I get 100 users in this 1 month or 2 months, I would get this much and so on. So I was always thinking about this kind of products. I was thinking like, what should I build that I could make money from? Roadmap was a different kind of product. I was not thinking about making money from this at all. I was just doing it on the side to contribute to the community, put it on GitHub and so on. Now, I mean, I made a lot of money from it. Like I'm making money from it. I mean, basically, I'm working on this full time. I mean, I'm earning from it as a employment and so on. Uh, I did not like think about all of this when I started, right? So sometimes when you start, like I used to think that you have to have the idea in the beginning. You have to take the product towards that like vision that you have, and then you can only build the product. Roadmap taught me that it can be something else as well. So you don't have to have a proper idea in the beginning of what the product looked like. I mean, it was just 3 images on GitHub. Who would have thought that after 7 years, I'd be sitting here talking to you about having 55 roadmaps, more than 1 million registered users, and this and that. It was completely different. The one thing is this, you don't have to have a proper idea when you start. Like you have to just put something out there, get help from the people, like get feedback from people, and then if you see the traction, just keep working on it. It will take you wherever it will take you. So you don't have to have a proper idea in the beginning. So that's the first thing. The second thing is like when you're doing something, you might think that you're wasting time if you don't think or direct traction you're expecting from it, but you don't know. Like sometimes it comes back to you in different manner. For example, I would say like in the university days, I did not know what I wanted to do. I did not know like what my job looked like. So I was learning about designing, about the animations, about game development, C sharp, article writing. I was doing lot of different things, and at that time I was thinking that I'm just wasting my time. I'm not doing anything. But now that I look back at this, I'm working on this roadmap. So roadmap, we don't have a designer, we don't have a marketing guy, we don't have any salesperson, we don't have any like board manager. So we don't have any different roles. It's just me. Like we're just two full-time people and one part-time person. And if I look back at the time, all the things that I had learned at that time, which I thought I wasted, I have been using them all here on the roadmap. So don't think that when you're working on something, you're wasting your time. You might end up using it in some manner. You will be amazed like how it came back in the future.
Yeah,
So learning never goes in vain.
there is some product that you never thought that will have an impact on either on you or someone else, but this is the product that like got you what you are looking for indirectly. So sometimes you just like keep working on the product and you never know what to expect from the product. Just keep building stuff and
There's one more thing. So there's another
sure.
thing that I mean, when you post something, when you make something, normally like I used to be like early in my career, I used to be scared of what people would give me the feedback. Like I was making, for example, this PHP geocoding library that I told you about. So at that time, around that period, I was making a lot of libraries, a lot of simple scripts, and I was putting on them on Reddit. And people were bashing me. Like there was a lot of negative feedback and so on. Even from the roadmap in the early days, there was a guy who said that you are a poison for the internet or something because of the roadmap. I got this comment. So I mean, if I would have taken all this negative feedback to my heart, I would have never been anywhere. So
Yeah.
this is another lesson that you should not like listen to what people are saying. If you know like what you're doing, just keep on doing. Don't give any heed to whatever people are saying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And also like the rated community, it's a bit hard, if I would say. So don't take their feedback personally. So just like the feedback is about the project, is not about you yourself. So don't take it that personally and take it home. I think.
Even if it is about you. So, for example, I started my YouTube, right? In the beginning of my days, like there were comments on the channel that you were like, looks like you're reading from a script. Looks like there's a robot making this video and so on. And there were all these negative comments. They didn't stop me. I was like set to make one video every week, and I was doing it. And it grew like within 1 year, we were sitting at almost 100,000 subscribers on the YouTube. If I would have stopped from these comments that I was getting, I would have never taken it to where it is today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is like a really good thing to mention because a lot of people got hesitate and got scary because of a comment that they will like get on like a social media, and they will stop what they are creating, which is not a good thing because sometimes even you, if you confront the person that's comment, they are will say sorry, I don't mean it this way, so I mean it the other way. So because they are not expecting you to reply to their comment, so they are just like making that comment like maybe just to make fun of the situation or something like this. So sometimes just don't take the comments personally, especially online. Take the criticism if it's like the comment is not like have some good criticism about the content. Take that as a good thing and learn from that. But if it's like that's like have a comment that doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
to the content that you have, just like ignore it and don't care about it and just move on because everyone will say what they are thinking, but you should be focusing on the making the content and improving it over time. So this is what you should be focusing more. And this is it's for some people it will be hard to be able to ignore some comment, but you just need to be able to ignore this type of comment because it will not get you anywhere.
Yeah. And also, people do, I mean, these kind of comments when they can't do something themselves and they see that someone else is trying. I mean, I made my first video when I had 0 subscribers, right? I did it.
Yes.
If there was negative feedback, I mean, at least I'm trying. The guy is not even trying, right? So don't look at like these kind of comments. Think about that I am at least doing something that this guy is not doing. If I make this open source project and I get negative feedback from Reddit, whatever he says, if it is again what you said, like if it is a positive criticism, I mean, if it is a criticism, like there's a positive message in there with this negative feedback, take this message from it. If it is just a comment saying like this is horrible, just don't. I mean, even look at it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Everyone will say whatever they would like, and you should take the good thing from the conversation and move on. So awesome. So I think we cover a good part for the roadmap. What do you think there will be the next step for the roadmap products?
Roadmap has been growing massively, so we keep breaking records every month. Every month is different. I mean, this month we're going to be all-time high in terms of number of users per month that came to the website. So we're adding a lot of features. The first one that we launched a week ago was the projects. So before we just have used to have roadmaps. So we give you the path, learn this, learn this, learn this, and so on. But we did not give you the project ideas. So build this or build that to practice your skills and so on. So I mean, for the next few months, we'll be adding more projects to all of our roadmaps. Backend projects are live. We added almost 18 project ideas in there. Front-end DevOps and full stack roadmaps are next. We'll be adding all at least like 10 to 15 project ideas to each. After that, we'll be integrating the project ideas into the roadmap. So you will see the checkpoints added to the roadmap. So after you have learned two topics, we'll show a different, like a little flag or anything and say, go and learn about this, build this project from here. So there's the second thing. We're also thinking about adding some more features, some AI features. So right now, when you click a topic, we give you the external resources, the free resources. We're also thinking about adding AI in there. So you could also learn with the chat interface all from the sidebar that will open. So you don't even need to leave the website. This is another feature. More AI integration. A website redesign is also planned in the near future. Uh, Teams would be improved further. Also, the community aspect will be working on improving the community aspect as well. For example, groups and stuff like that. There are a lot of different things. So what happens is every 6 months, I prepare the plan for the next 6 months, like what we are going to focus on, and then we work towards that plan. So every month we try to focus on four things, three or four things. The first thing is the content. In the content, we have roadmaps, project ideas, roadmap content, best practices, guides, videos, all these topics. The next one is from the feature side. What features are we going to launch? For example, we this week we launched the streak, so gamification of the learning, so on. So this is for example the features like this. The other thing we make is like marketing efforts. What we'll be doing in terms of building connections or doing the partnerships. That's like we did with Diddy.dev and so on. So all these topics. So every month we have like 4 topics, 3 or 4 topics, and we work towards these topics for the full 6 months. And these 6 months have been focused around just this, like project ideas, like launching projects to all of our roadmaps, improving the roadmaps, add the beginner versions to most of our roadmaps, and improving some parts of the roadmap for the teams.
Yeah, makes sense. Got it. Yep. I think this is a good thing. There's a lot of good improvements coming to the roadmap. We are in the last section of the episode. So in this section, we will have online resources that you would like to mention and to recommend to someone that would like to get into entrepreneurship. So for software engineers that are listening to us, what do you think are the best book and resources that you would like to share with them to start their entrepreneurial journey?
So I mostly look at, for example, Hacker News all the time. I mean, this is how ideas came to me as well. So I look at the threads what people are talking about and so on. Hacker News is quite good. Reddit, there are some quite good subreddits. Not learn programming. There's one called Entrepreneurship Side Project. There are some more which are quite famous, quite good, like open source, self-hosted, and all of this. So I look at Reddit a lot. So I am there, and I get a lot of ideas from there. In podcast, there's Masters of Scale podcast. That is quite good. I like it. Apart from this, indiehackers.com, I visit this quite often. So on indiehackers.com, there's a pod section. I look at that, for example, with the filter revenue verification verified, and I look at what products are making money, and I look at them how they're making money, people sharing their stories and so on. So this is I visit that a lot, quite a lot, and just on Twitter, like normally I am there on Twitter. But in terms of book, I would say like one book that I recently read and I enjoyed was how to how to fail at everything and still succeed. I think this is the title by Scott Adams. So
Yes.
this is the book and the podcast again, Masters of Scale. So these two I would say.
So for people that would like to reach out to you and like have a question about the project that you are working on, where they can reach out to you.
So Twitter would be one thing. So reach out to me on x.com/Kamrify, Kamrifi. Or I'm also active on the Discord of Roadmaps. I'm always there online. So you can also reach out to me or the other maintainers or the other people who are there. So these two places I would say Discord and Twitter.
So you have the mic if you would like to share anything with the audience for the Yellow Let's Code podcast. You have some time if you would like to share anything that will benefit them.
I keep repeating the same thing again and again. So I would say build projects. I keep saying to everyone, build projects and build something that people would want to use or people would come back to. I mean, this is how you don't need to even think about money. For example, if you have a job, you're making good money from it. It can be open source. Also, think about the problems that you have and keep on like always try to have a side project. Always I try to have a side project. It could be for learning, it could be for making money, or it could be for whatever reason. Just start something and don't set a deadline. So that what has helped me is having a schedule rather than a deadline. So if I say that I will be launching this project in October, I might not launch it because I could get busy or whatever happens. Normally, I just set up a list of things that I need to do before launch, and then on daily basis, I would just say that I'll work 1 hour on this checklist. Like I would just pick one item and just 1 hour of focused work. I'll be just doing this. So this is another thing. Like work on the checklist and have a schedule and work towards that schedule without setting the deadline. And yeah, I think that would be it. Like always have a side project. It took me where I am today. The side project took me where I am today in terms of my technical skills, in terms of my financial situation. So it could change your life.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, it's always good to have a side project, and this podcast is my side project, so I enjoy
I
doing
yeah,
this podcast.
I watched some of your podcasts before this. I mean, I really enjoyed it, the format that you have and the stories that people share. So yeah, I watched this podcast by Ilias as well.
Thank you so much for recommending my podcast. Thank you, I appreciate it. So I think that's it for today episode. So it's been a pleasure hosting you, Carmen, for today episode. I hope you have a great time with us, and let's see you on the next episode.